Hi everybody, my name is Melanie Rogers and I'm inviting you all to tune in to my show, Flip the Switch, How to Find the Light in Every Dark Shadow, every Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ClearSourceRadio.com and iHeartRadio. Hey everyone, you are now listening to Flip the Switch, How to Find the Light in Every Dark Shadow on the Clear Source Radio Network. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Melanie Rogers, your host, and you are now listening to Flip the Switch, How to Find the Light in Every Dark Shadow on Clear Source Radio Network, where people inspire people, also heard on iHeartRadio, on Spreaker, and Spotify. So anyway, no matter how you're listening to the show, whether you're listening live right now on Clear Source Radio, whether you're listening to a rebroadcast on my YouTube channel, which I ask for you to follow or sign up for, subscribe. It's funny, you subscribe to YouTube, you follow on Twitter, I guess, you like on Facebook, you do all these weird things, all these different things on different social media networks. It's been a while since I put out the information where to follow my show, but if you're listening, then apparently you figured it out by now. So I don't have it in front of me. If you choose to go and like my show page on Facebook, I would much appreciate it. I actually put the information on the shows, what to expect. If you want that, if you want to get a heads up on the concept of the show coming up each week, then you are more than welcome to like my Facebook show page. And I can't remember the exact, it's Flip the Switch. If you look up Flip the Switch, it's like Flip the Switch Radio. I think that's what it is. Probably Flip the Switch Radio. You'll see my face. It's a pink banner. I apologize that I don't have it memorized by now, but I really don't put all that much thought into how many people go onto that page, and I really probably should. If you're somebody who's listening randomly, then hopefully you're getting out of the show what you're looking for. But if you are specifically looking for specifics in the shows, then that's probably the best place to go, because all of my past shows are actually on there as well. If you look into the events part of the page and look in the description of past shows that I've done banners and stuff for, when I'm done airing and when I get to doing my podcast, I will always post the link there, and it's a link to my YouTube channel, which you are also more than I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Made a lot of statements in the past on how much I was going to put on there, bloopers and all that, and I did it for a while, but life kind of caught up with me, so it hasn't been that priority. I would love to get back to that, to tell you the truth. I am waiting to get back to that person I was, that frame of mind I was in when I first started the show, and had fun with it, had fun with guests and creating my little blooper videos and promos and such. It's just, hopefully I will. And part of that is saying that everything that's been coming up and out in the show and in life and such is necessary, and sometimes it takes us to darker places. So if you have been listening to my show, then we've been on kind of an up and down, kind of a roller coaster, which is actually one of my shows, the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster thing. So anyway, it's all very important. So hopefully this is my little premise, my little what do you call it? I can't think. I'm tired. This is my precursor to tonight's show, I guess, is in letting you know that even though if you just kind of tune in now and then and you don't really follow along with everything that's been going on, then you may not be aware that it's been a roller coaster, but it's with purpose. And even though some things seem like it's negative, it's all based on growth. It's all based on positivity, healing, all this kind of stuff. So that's where the show has gone. The show takes me where it's supposed to, based on my own life lately, okay? And yes, I am still looking forward to my future having guests because there are just so many amazing people out there I want to bring on here. I really, really do, and I am excited about that, but it's not time yet. It's not time because my brain is still just dealing with so much stuff that I feel personal to myself to bring onto the show. It makes me feel better. It kind of makes things come up. That's the funny part, and I want to say that before we talk about tonight's show, because the show is basically, I want to talk about is, it's almost Thanksgiving. A couple days, it's going to be Thanksgiving. I've aired the same show for the last 2 years, my initial show about being thankful, and I thought there was a lot to it about realizing what you should be appreciative of, and how not everyone is actually capable or even realizes that ability. It's almost like an ability to appreciate. So anyway, that ended up being kind of a popular show, which surprised me. Maybe it's because it was my first year. I don't know, but I went ahead and I re-aired it last year because I thought it was full of my own personal opinion, not that I'm biased or anything. Of course, I thought that it was filled with a lot of positive inspiration and good perspectives, from my point of view, of course. But anyway, this year I chose to continue along the same lines, talking about thankfulness basically and appreciation for life scenarios and stuff, looking at things from different perspectives. I enjoy doing that. I've become good at doing that. Because I've become good at doing that, I'm going to take you back to my point right before I started all that, is that this show has been something I'm very thankful for. I'm going to say it one more time. I've said it 1,000 times before. It's really done wonders for me because of being able to come out in that hour and turn everything I've learned deep inside and bring it out. It's kind of like I realize it almost as I'm speaking it. And if in the process other people can relate to things that I'm saying or things in life I may be going through, then fantastic. I think that it's a win-win. Okay, so that's one of the things I'm thankful for. Okay, I don't know if you do this November thing. I love it on Facebook. I haven't really done it this year. Sometimes when you start doing it, it becomes, I guess, mundane, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't. People do this thing where some people do it every day, what you're thankful for all of November. But what's been happening in the world lately, and I am kind of going all over the place already, but, bear with me. What's been happening in the world for a while now, and it's really starting to bother me. I hesitate even socializing on social media or putting anything out because everyone is so highly triggered. Everyone has such strong points to make. Everyone has to guide everyone, which is part of the reason on this show I've really changed my own ways, that as much as I want to be an inspirational person because I feel like I have that inside of me, and I love the fact that I'm able to look at things from different perspectives. I've really changed the show to whatever resonates with you, great. But what I'm putting out there is what I'm experiencing, and it's my personal perspectives. I'm not trying to put them on anybody. I think that's important, especially the way things are going in the world right now. So going back to the thankful November thing, is it's become kind of, I guess, mundane, or I look at it that way from, watching different people's reactions when somebody, or what it is that a lot of people or some people, fewer and fewer every year, they do this November thing where every day they post what they're thankful for. And I did that one year where every day I did, I realized how much I'm thankful for, okay? It's a good time to do it because of Thanksgiving. But as I keep reiterating in the New Year's show about how we really we, and when we say we, I mean me, once again, really throughout the whole year, should always concentrate on the mindset in the beginning of the year, okay? That's my New Year's theme, is the beginning of the year, we're all full of positivity, and we're all full of inspiration and motivation for the year. And a lot of times we're ready for the previous year to end, going, okay, get rid of all of that because of everything that's kind of, we've gone through the year, which tells me that we hold on to a lot of the negativity. I'm now going to change that statement a little bit and say that I think we're learning life lessons, and they're difficult. So when you end a year and things have gone bad, I really think we should concentrate on those areas of negativity and pay attention to the lessons in it and take that into the new year. Same thing with Thanksgiving, which I've never really referred to this before, but I'm really kind of relating it right now. My theory of New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, the new year, and holding on to the mindset throughout the year instead of letting it go downhill over the year to where you're leaving that year on a negative note, and it would be a consistent thing year after year after year. That basically says disappointment at the end of the year. It's like, okay, started off with all this high expectation, and then by the end of the year, I want that year to go, and I'm trying to get myself motivated to get rid of all the muck from that year. I think we really should also concentrate on not only the lessons to take into the new year so that the next year we can end thinking this was a great year, but also pay attention to the good stuff. It's like the negative stuff outweighs the good stuff throughout the year. I do feel that way this year. I feel like there's so many lessons, and I've gone through so many emotional roller coasters, but what I do concentrate on is how important it is to learn those lessons. And with that, that is a huge positive thing. So I might have been in tears most of this year, and I agree. I admit, I was. It's been a difficult year. A lot of life realizations have come up. Realizations about what's been trapped inside, realizations about where my life is right now, and it's unsatisfying compared to what it was at some point, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? Don't boo-hoo. That was very important. It's still very important for all that to come up and for me to deal with it, just like I hope other people are. That's where I hope that I inspire you, telling you not all my stuff, but where my mindset is and my lessons are. So going back to the whole Thanksgiving thing or in comparison to my New Year's theory, we get all thankful over Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving time frame, people start posting all those positive things in November. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the same concept as New Year's, and I'm going to highly suggest to people to think about this. I'm going to pay attention to this as a life lesson, that instead of realizing it during Thanksgiving, and I'm actually really good at this, believe it or not, even when I'm going through my really tough times. There's very few times, and it's honestly within a short period of time that I will lash out, and I'm talking about I'll lash out to the universe. I'll lash out to whoever's up there listening about how I can't deal with it, or how I'm just tired of everything being a test, or I'm tired of this heavy weight, in different areas of life. But that goes because I am really good at stopping myself or letting that out and then saying, now pay attention to what you are thankful for, because your life is so blessed. And I might have in the past said in comparison too, which is actually a good thing to think about. Your life is blessed in comparison too, but at the same time, we're always trying not to compare ourselves to other people, right? My life is blessed just because it is. Okay, I'm breathing. My life is blessed. Okay, so now the Thanksgiving thing. Instead of, we're getting close to the holidays, we're getting close to Thanksgiving, all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's start thinking about what we're thankful for. My new challenge to myself and my challenge to you, if you so choose to accept this challenge, is to continue that thought process throughout the whole year once again. If you're going to do it in November, i.e. me and such, and put out there everything you're thankful for, or even within your own heart and mind, think about what you're really thankful for in life, daily, monthly, weekly, whatever. Try to hold on to that all year. Okay, so that's my challenge to you, to me, and such. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about in tonight's show, once again, is going to be how to look at things, how I look at things. It's my new theory of relativity. Let me try that again. I already messed it up. And picture me with glasses on looking down my nose saying this, by the way. Not stereotyping or anything, but it's just fun, so lighten up. My theory of relativity based on positive or negative perspectives, which is a whole bunch of hogwash because I just randomly thought about that recently, and I thought it sounded very intelligent. It sounded very scientifically proven. In all actuality, it's just these little fish that swim in my head. Okay? All right. I started thinking about different thoughts. I started thinking about different thoughts that I have, okay, with different circumstances. And this is how I turn myself around, by the way. I'm not just always thinking about things to talk about on the show. I'm always thinking about these kind of things. This is how my life is and how I continue to strive to put things in a positive point of view, even if I'm going through a very difficult time. Okay. The show happens because I think that way. It's my place to put it so that it's not just me learning from it. It's me learning from it on a whole new level. Okay, so yeah, it's still about me. It's still like what I get out of it when I put it out on the show bases how important the show is to me. I hope you're not hearing a bunch of clicking. My screen is going out, so I'm trying to get back on there. Okay, all right, so here's a couple of ways I started thinking of things. Flipping that switch in my head. What we do, that's what we do, right? We flip that switch in our head and automatically fill up that glass. How about that? Look at things from a different perspective. And that's one thing I'm going to start off with. What I realized lately, okay, and this is mostly for the people who have followed along or listened to me week to week. I don't like saying followed along because that sounds like following behind me kind of thing. I like to think of it as walking beside me on this little venture. And if you are walking beside me week after week after week and paying attention to life progress, well, then you're either a stalker, which I hope isn't the case. Just kidding, of course. Or you're getting something out of it and maybe relating a little something. And I hope that is the case. But when I was feeling weighed down this past time, which was very, very dark, okay, I went through a very dark period of time. A lot of my shows were missed over the last couple of months, and part of that is because of the negative place I've been and trying to bring it to you in a positive way, because it's really important for me to do that. Otherwise, why come on here just to bring people down, right? So what I recently realized, I pictured this, and I realized what was happening was I was turning very dark inside. No, evil's not taking over, even though there were times when I really started thinking that way. I started really thinking and saying it out loud to God, to the universe, to whoever happens to be up there listening, to myself, whatever, that I felt like actual darkness was actually winning and taking over. Like I had such a light inside, and I feel it just dimming, and I feel that darkness, and I feel that heaviness, and I feel that saturation, and my heart was heavy and everything else. Well, you know what? I'm going to look at that in a different way. Picture this. Picture yourself, i.e. me, of course, but picture yourself as well as a glass. You know how people always say when your glass is, how you look at it, your glass is half full, your glass is half empty. Okay, I started picturing myself as that glass. My body is that glass. Not the water inside, but the energy. I'm an energetic being. You are as well. We all are. A lot of empaths, we experience that energy shift so intensely. And I think people who are close to me are starting to really they're starting to really understand that concept, because as I actually talk to them about this kind of stuff now, I think they're suddenly really catching on to the fact that some of us are more empathic and energetic and stuff, and that actual physical energy, emotional energy, everything else, it's a real thing. Okay, so I picture that as emotional energy physically. And the more I deplete, the more I put out there to other people, even doing my show, I release a lot of that energy, and a lot of that energy is stuff that's pent up down inside. Therefore, the lessons are coming up. Okay, so picture that. It's heavy, it's an energy. Some of it is based on, painful situations of the past, whatever, pushed down inside. And once it starts kind of uprooting a little within, then it comes out. It doesn't always come out just on the show. I'm talking about whether I lose my temper or whether I talk to someone, and this has happened a lot lately. Me having a normal conversation. God love my mom. God bless my mom. She gives her patience because she's been one of my victims lately. We start off on the most calm topic, and all of a sudden all this stuff just comes. I feel it chipping away, and it just comes out, and next thing you know, I'm going off on a tantrum, and I feel that energy coming up through me and releasing. I don't like doing that to a lot of people because as an empath, and that's energy, then people around me do that with me. I absorb it. Okay? People, that's a real thing. All right? When you have a lot of chaos around you, even if somebody's not yelling at you, empaths like me, we absorb it. We feel it deep in our soul. I can't even go home when my cat is full of anxiety and starts meowing as if she's starving if I don't adhere to her in that moment. It's nails on a chalkboard to me. My anxiety goes sky high. I can't handle that. Now, what ends up happening when you have different situations like that, all these situations, negative situations around you, whether they're real or whether they're something like your cat is meowing because she wants attention, okay? Or it's the deepest thing ever, like you were sexually harassed or you pushed something down, no matter what it is. I'm starting to realize that those things for an energetic person or an empathic person, it's still something that you either react to in the moment to try to push away, or you absorb it and you push it way down. Now, when that comes up, picture the water, picture the glass, okay? That's your energy. If your energy is chaotic and it's trapped deep inside, even as you start realizing things over time, peeling like an onion, okay? Healing like an onion, which was actually my show, Healing Like an Onion. When things are ready to be acknowledged and released, it comes up automatically. You can't keep that stuff pushed down inside. And as it comes up, guess what? It comes out. That's a good thing. So as many times I've gone on tantrums lately, I realize it's a very important time because stuff is being realized. I'm starting to realize a lot of stuff about my own life, about how much I've pushed things down, how much I have really suppressed or absorbed or whatever, and it's finally coming up and out, and it's ugly. It comes up and it's ugly, but it's a good thing. So going back to really quickly, before I go through all these things, these situations I wanted to tell you about as far as Thanksgiving and being thankful, I'm thankful for this. I am like a glass of water. All that energy is what fills me up or depletes me, okay? When they say, I think the perfect, if you can't have nothing, just positive, calming energy, which means sometimes positive energy, it's too much as well. Think static electricity. You have too much going on. You're too charged up, which sometimes I get as well. I feel energy even if it's a good thing. Even if I'm super excited about something, sometimes it's too much for me. Okay? So for me, unless I can ground that energy and keep my glass full with good, calming energy, sometimes with empaths like us, I think the glass should be half full, as long as it's positive energy that's filling you, keeping you level and balanced. But what was happening to me and why I basically have been feeling on this huge roller coaster is an energy depletion, because I would put myself out there to other people, or I would even on the radio put all my stuff, and it comes up, it comes out, and what does that leave you with? That energy's gone. All of a sudden I'm depleted. I realized that I was hitting a rock bottom, if you want to picture it, because all that energy, all that water that was filling me up was spewed out. I was empty. Okay, and when you're empty and you don't have energy, how do you deal with anything? You can't. It's like starving yourself of food or water, or actual water. You don't have that energy. You have to build it back up again. So when you absorb bad stuff around you, you're just building up negativity once again. When you have stuff that's deep down inside unleashing, then it's filling you up from within, but it's all the bad stuff. You have to concentrate on the positive. And that's why That's why I'm going to talk about the things I'm going to talk about. That my own theory of relativity based on positive or negative perspectives is basically everyday things that may bother you, i.e. me and such. If you look at it from a certain perspective, then you're filling it, you're putting a positive spin on it. That positivity is what goes on in your head, in your heart. That's what fills you up. That positivity ends up being that positive energy. That's what I need. Okay. Eureka! Mel's Eureka moment right there. Okay. It's all within ourselves, by the way. Unless you have somebody who's bullying you, somebody who's actively doing something towards you, and you can't find a way to keep them under control. You can always work on, and it's very hard, and I'm still working on it, work on how they affect you, because ultimately the energy within us is our own perspectives and how we take it. Like I said, and I'm going to tell you one more thing before I get to, which I'm only going to have time to give you a couple of examples, which are great examples from my book, but I'm biased. They're personal to me. So I'm going to tell you another thing that I read lately, and this has to do with physical energy as well, or your physical fitness. Okay. I talked about this before as far as like detoxing and as far as linking your emotional energy with your physical energy and psychological energy, pulling your emotions, your physical body, and your thoughts, your mental awareness and such, pulling all that together and how they all work together and how you have to detox all of them. You have to keep them all positive. Well, I was reading this one article which I found really fascinating. It's about your psoas muscle. Okay, we're going to go into a little fitness. I wish that I had that article in front of me right now, but I don't. So I'm not going to click around trying to find it because I'm already almost halfway through here. What it is, your psoas muscle, it goes from, this isn't exact, but it's basically your core. It's everywhere from your whole, like your midsection, your psoas muscle holds you together from the middle. Okay. Now it's deep inside what happens, and I found this so fascinating. I've known for years that my psoas muscle is tight. Now, a lot of reasons that it's tight is because of sitting, because you contract so that muscle shortens when you stand up or whatever. Your muscle is extremely tight because you have to start stretching it. Okay, now that's one part of it. I've known that for years because when I went to the massage therapist, he explained it to me. He said that he's like, you have a very tight psoas muscle. Let me tell you, my massage therapist, God love him, and thank goodness I treat him like a professional, and I look at him like a professional. It's been years since he's worked there, but I went to him for a long time, and I used to laugh because he found hundreds of trigger spots in me. And when he was working on my psoas muscle, it could have been really awkward. Thank goodness this is where I say I looked at him like a professional, and I was trying to make him feel more relaxed because I knew it was awkward for him. It's a massage therapist, and they get a little awkward, like, this is going to be a really awkward position or whatever. So to tell you how you had to get to my psoas muscle, for those of you who choose massage therapy, by the way, to relax that muscle, it is linked, okay? Bear with me. I'm going to connect it in a moment. But that psoas muscle is your center, and it affects everything. So how he had to get to my psoas muscle to try to push on it and try to release it with massage is he had to push my intestines to the side. Okay, so if you don't know where your intestines are, he had to basically, from the side of my stomach, push them over with one hand, raise my left leg up high, come up from behind, underneath my leg, and push, and I can feel, he had the two opposite, I think it was like the opposite sides of that same muscle. When he pushed on one, it was the weirdest sensation ever, because I felt it go up into the opposite side, and I was like, whoa. It made me realize how much it was connected and how deep it was inside. It's very hard to massage that out. So the funny part about it, like I said, I treat him like a professional, and he and I used to talk and talk and talk. I went to him for many hours of massage and stuff. So God love him. He was the sweetest guy ever, and I would look up to and say things to make him blush. I'm like, you know me more intimately than most boyfriends have ever known me. So I would just try to break, that's just my personality. I'd try to break the ice with him and try to see him blush and just kind of laugh about it. But so anyway, that's your psoas muscle. Now, how I'm linking that with the theory of relativity based on positive or negative perspective, show in thankfulness and how to look at things and all this kind of stuff. Basically, emotional release is in this article I read. This is a layman's term. I'm going to say it in a layman's term because I'm a layman when it comes to this. I don't have the article in front of my face, so I'm going to take out of it how I received this article. That psoas muscle being tight means not only, if you're sitting too long and you're constricting that muscle too much, your emotional trauma is stored in that muscle. Oh, my lordy. Here's why that's interesting. Okay. I'm going to say this now. I wouldn't say this in the past a whole lot because I don't like putting a lot of family stuff in there because it's just not fair. Obviously, it's personal. But I had a really great conversation with my dad recently, and we were talking about all this kind of stuff. That when you're a child, especially if you're an empathic child and parents are unaware of what that even is, which I was until how many years ago, realizing the emotional sensitivity and the amazing intuition. That's two things. You feel things and you're very intuitive. You know things. Okay, so when there's any kind of drama, and of course in every family, okay, I came from an Italian family, there's going to be drama, there's going to be loud voices, there's going to be fighting, we're feisty like that. That was traumatic for me as a child because I felt so much. Okay, so I can look at it now, and God love my dad, he was apologizing to me, and I'm like, Daddy, it's nothing to apologize about. Part of it is that you never know how someone takes something anyway, and it's perspective. I could have been taking, things that were said or things that were done in a bad way when it wasn't even meant that way, just because I was absorbing so much. So I'm not, I'm looking at it like that. What I'm looking at it as any kind of emotional trauma that I may have felt, no matter what the intentions behind it were or weren't. I'm an adult now, and I realize that has been an issue with me, and I'm trying to release it for my own good. It's now my responsibility. I'm not looking to try to hammer everybody and anybody who's affected me in my life, because most of them don't even realize they did. Most of them didn't even do anything wrong. I just took it a certain way, or I was stressed. So the moral of the story is I was highly stressed, okay? And from there, I ended up being highly stressed through life. But I kind of drew a lot of situations, and I'm realizing that now from that point. And a lot of situations just happened as well. But being an empathic person, I took it in. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because when I was younger, my dad told me this a few years ago, I think, or maybe not so long ago, but we were just talking about like when I was in school and I tried out for the softball team, okay? And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, he said, you were always really stiff, like my hip area was always stiff. And it was an interesting conversation because he said, I just always thought because I wasn't moving a lot that I was very shy. Now, mind you, I was a shy kid, but I told him, I'm like, no, Daddy, I said, I have that tight psoas area. I said, I have ever since I was a kid. I remember always being stiff there, okay, in my midsection, like when most people could dance, do the twerking, all that kind of stuff, basically shaking their stuff. It's hard for me, and it's because it's always been so extremely tight. And I didn't realize that until I grew older. I was talking to a friend about, gosh, it was like 17 years ago, and I know that because I've been in Georgia, and I was in California talking to her, and we were working out, and we were talking about that same thing, and I'm like, I'm just so extremely tight through there. It's hard for me to dance a certain way because I'm so tight there, and I've always been ever since I was a kid. So, like I said, talking to my dad about it a while back, I'm like, no, it wasn't necessarily me being shy in that moment, because in that moment I wasn't shy. I really wanted to play softball. But that part of my body has always been very stiff, very, very tight. Okay, now skip ahead. I find out that is an actual muscle and that's actually what's keeping me tight. Now let's skip ahead a little further to the article. I know you're saying, finally, tell me about the article. The article read, and it was very interesting, what I took out of the article was that other than just sitting and doing that physical thing that will tense you up, it stores your emotions. Here's why. Apparently, when you experience any kind of fear, if you pucker up at all, okay, and they used examples, I believe they used examples like, okay, if you're watching a scary movie, and you get to that moment where you experience fear, but you know that that fear is not real. You don't do anything about it. Okay, your body apparently creates, in that place, it apparently creates a fight or flight hormone, I think, or chemical. All right? Now, because you're watching a movie, as the example, and you know that that movie isn't real, you don't fight or flight, but what you still react. And when you react, it still creates that chemical. And guess what? That chemical gets stored in that midsection. That chemical is part of the reason that you are tight in your psoas muscle, that whole area, based on an emotional response. Oh my gosh, that made sense to me, because my whole life, like I said, we blame nobody. We just take care of our stuff, right? Because that's the responsible thing to do. We blame nobody because nobody is responsible for the way we respond to something, okay? And the way I responded to things as a kid all the way up until now is still not other people's. Half the people don't know, okay? They don't even realize it, all right? Let alone being responsible for how I'm going to take something. I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm responsible for what I mean. I'm not responsible for how you interpret it. Okay, and if I say this is what I mean and then you want to interpret it a different way, guess what, baby? That's on you. I've said that before. Okay, now that was a eureka moment for me, because that is a huge thing in my world. It was talking about how important it is to release the tension in your psoas area, to stretch it out. You can do everything from massage to what is it called when they use the needles? You know what I'm talking about. Can't think of it. Oh my gosh, I can't even think of it. Any kind of trigger release therapy, all that kind of stuff. But look it up. Do what you can. Yoga. I'm going to start doing that, because what it was saying is that not only once you release that muscle, once you do stretch that muscle out and you are able to get it, apparently it releases that chemical. And they said you're going to really notice. I got distracted, I'm sorry. You're going to really notice your movements. You'll be able to dance a lot better, because that will release everything. You will be able to move like a normal person. Makes me realize that I'll be able to move basically compared to somebody who's had a very relaxed life and hasn't experienced so much emotional trauma. Isn't that interesting the way things connect, though? But that's what it says. You'll be able to physically move better, but you'll also have a better frame of mind. You will have a more positive frame of mind and be happier. Why? Because with that, it is releasing pent-up emotional stress. Eureka. Everything is connected, okay? What makes me excited about that as well is that I realized that before on my own. By doing that show, connecting everything from emotional and detoxing your physical body and your mental detox and your emotional detox and all that kind of stuff. I've always linked all of it, and now it's making more sense, and they're actually proving it scientifically. It's not just I just know, or I can just visualize it. It's this stuff is real, okay? So that's a very, very, very amazing thing in my world. If I remember, I'll post that on my Facebook show page. So if you go to my Facebook show page and like it, going back to the beginning of the show, then there you go. Okay, now we only have, oh my goodness, only like 20 minutes, and here's what I'm going to talk about. Thanksgiving, okay? These are different perspectives. I think I probably only have time to tell maybe a couple of these. This is going to sound weird bringing up these stories, kind of like, okay, where'd that come from? But I started thinking about things. I start thinking about things, and I'll look at timelines like I did before, realizing that how you respond to something basically isn't the exact scenario isn't usually the issue. Going back in time and understanding why you're responding to something, and then going back in time and understanding where it rooted, and that's the important part. Okay, I think along those lines. I'm always going back and forth in a timeline in my head. I'm always trying to connect things in that way to go to the core. My basic thing is go to the core. Go to the root of the problem. Go to the root of everything, okay? And what I've realized in this little theory of relativity, I like saying it, by the way, because this is my own little experiment, I guess. Theory of relativity, and I can't even say it, theory of relativity, based on positive or negative perspectives. Okay, this is how you look at things, and this is an example on how you can train yourself, i.e. me as well, in every situation to try to picture different situations or pay attention to the situation as it is, as it was, as it will be, and realize that your emotions and your actual reactions will go up and down based on how you look at the situation. You can have a situation and follow it through, which I'm going to show you in a second, and your emotions can go up and down. But what is that based on? It's based on how you look at the situation, not necessarily how it is. Okay, here's one example. Let's picture this. Okay, let me see where to start this. I want to start it in the right place. Okay, say you're at a thrift store. Okay. This is kind of and this is actually, I wrote down a little note on here just to remind me of this story. This is how I do think. These are scenarios that would happen to me or, my emotions would have in the past, and I just can't think of the specific scenarios to tell you those, but how one little thing could keep going up and down, a good thing, bad thing. I look at it from a good perspective, then a bad perspective, up and down, okay? You can think about this in friendships. You can think about this in relationships. You can think about this in scenarios, like I'm going to tell you. Any way you do, pay attention to what is causing you to react positively, what your mindset is, in relation to. That's why I said the theory of relativity, because how I'm looking at it as every situation, it's relatable. It's relative to something, and it depends on how you're relating that situation, on how you're going to respond to it, negatively or positively. Here's the thing. You're saying, just get to it. I know. Okay, picture yourself going to, you're short on money. I've been there. I am there. Very short on money. Everything you buy, you feel guilt, i.e. me, blah, blah, blah. So say I go and I'm at a thrift store and I see this necklace and I buy this necklace, okay? I feel guilt because I don't have a lot of money and I think, gosh, should I do this? This is irresponsible, whatever. Okay, so I'm looking at the possibility of buying this necklace in a negative way. Oh, no. Let's take it even further. I'm going to take this story even further. Say you felt that guilt. You bought the necklace. And you bought a couple other things that you felt good about. You needed whatever. Okay, you need all these super cheap things for my dog or my kitty or whatever. So you're buying it for other people. You feel good. You throw in the necklace. Maybe you feel guilty. Like, I still shouldn't have bought that. But you really like the necklace. Now, say you get home and you look at the receipt and realize that the necklace was supposed to be $25 and they actually only charged you $2.50. Well, first of all, you should feel guilty because I always have to bring that to their attention. Let's just pretend that this isn't some sort of thrift store that's for charity, okay, because then I'd feel really bad. But that this is just some thrift store that they make a lot of money. I don't know, something like that. Get past the point where the dishonesty, you're not being dishonest, by the way, but I usually try to catch people when they make a mistake because that's me. I believe in karma. But say you get home and everything and you see that it was only $2.50. Okay, you went from feeling guilty about this necklace, about buying this necklace, and why you feel guilty? You're feeling guilty because, i.e. me, because you spent money that you really should be spending on something else. Maybe you spent it on yourself and you realize I've been spending a lot of money on myself, even though it's great to pamper yourself. I've been spending too much money on myself lately when there's all these other things I should be spending money on. Okay, so kind of looking at it like it's weighing your, feel it inside. What does it do? You feel that heavy weight, right? I do. When I feel guilt, when I feel negative about a situation, it's heavy. Okay, I feel it heavy. Now, take it the next step. You see the receipt. You see you were only charged $2.50. And you think to yourself, if I was in a store, I would probably, if I was in the grocery store, I would fall for the, what do they call it when they put it right by the cash register, an impulse buy. I'd probably buy something, I don't know, gum, Power Bar, whatever, for $2.50. I would waste it anyway. So now I have this beautiful thing that I really liked. Oh my gosh, it's only $2.50. You feel lighter. It's like it released the guilt. You're feeling good about it, right? Now, because you're looking at it from that perspective. You're relating it to, okay? First, you're relating it to what you should be purchasing. Okay, so you're feeling bad. Then you see it's only $2.50 that you were charged. Or say that okay, let's take the guilt out of the first part, or let's take the guilt out of the mistake part and say that you read it wrong, okay? You thought it was $25, but you made that decision to buy it. You felt guilty. You felt negative about it. Then you got it home and you saw that the tag showed $2.50. So now you relieve yourself of guilt. You're looking at it from that perspective. For $2.50, I would have impulse bought. I would have impulse bought. Okay, you know what I'm trying to say. Something stupid that, I'd regret 5 minutes after I ate anyway. Okay, so now you're looking at it relative to that, and you feel positive about it again, right? Now take it a step further. Say that over time, you never even wore it. So you might be feeling guilty, like this is taking up space. I feel guilty that I even paid anything for it. Or if you're like me, you're such an empath that you look at the piece of jewelry and you don't laugh. Go ahead, laugh. It is funny, but you actually feel sorry for the piece of jewelry, like you're so beautiful and I haven't given you your due recognition. So yeah, I will look at things like that. I'm that bad. But for whatever reason, you're looking at it negative. Relative to what? You're looking at it relative to I wasted my money. Still, that $2.50 builds up over time. And I do look at things like that. I realize that things build up over time. Money. When I'm nickel diamond myself, it still bothers me because I put it all together and say, even though I bought all these little things that made me happy for just a few dollars, all these little things that I wasted or just taken up space or I never ended up using or I just got rid of, that adds up to a certain amount. So now you're looking at it in a negative way, right? You're looking at this piece of jewelry or whatever you bought. Okay. Instead of jewelry, because you can easily remedy that. You can turn around and use it. Let's change the story a little bit and say it was something that you were going to use, because I've done that a lot. You were going to use in the kitchen or something. Now it's just sitting there being wasted, and you look at it as a waste. Okay. Time, money, everything. You're back looking at it in a negative way relative to the situation. Okay? So you go and you have a sale. Let's say you have a sale, and in the sale somebody comes up to you. You don't have a price tag on it. Somebody comes up to you and says, how much is this item? Say you were going to sell it for $5. Or say you were going to sell it for $2.50 because you thought, okay, whatever you're going to sell it for, it doesn't matter. And before you say anything, they assume it's worth more. Okay. They say, I will pay $25 for this. Oh my gosh. Eureka. How are you looking at that now? You're looking at it from a positive point of view. Initially the item was worth that money. You felt like you got it at such an extreme discount that you felt good about it. Now you're selling it for much more money than you paid, so you're feeling good about it again because it's no longer being wasted, which made you feel bad about it, right? So you sell it for $25. Some unique item. Let's change it again. It's some unique item, okay, that you don't know the worth. Now you're relative to what you purchased it for, you are now looking at it from a positive point of view again. Am I right? Say that after you sold it, you turned around and you looked on eBay, and that person is selling that exact thing. Either somebody else is selling that exact thing, or the particular person you bought it from was selling the exact thing. They're selling it for $250. And then you look it up and realize it was worth a lot of money. How are you now feeling? You're feeling negative. You're feeling a loss. Maybe that's the word I should have said throughout all this, because that's what I want to that's what I want to really concentrate on. Whether you're feeling something as a loss or a gain, this is where I say you can look into each relationship, friendship, everything else. And if you're up and down based on different situations, it all depends on how you look at it. Loss or a gain, a positive or a negative, So now you're looking at it once again from a negative point of view. Okay. You can keep going with that situation, but I think I'm trying to make you realize that's how I look at things. It's all based on my own reality in the moment, how I'm relating to things as well. Okay, so here's another example, and this is my personal example. This is something I started looking at recently. My hair. Okay, now that's personal to me. When I was younger, my hair was awesome, by the way. I was always known for my hair. But we always look at ourselves, and I know that this is the case in most case scenarios, and this is a life lesson right here. And this is what I'm going through right now. I am going through this like wholeheartedly. I'm struggling through it, and I'm trying to get my own self-esteem back up. But the fact that I'm acknowledging all this is very much a positive thing. Okay, hair. I was known for my hair. I had all this hair. Okay, I'm an Italian girl. I had lots of long, dark, curly, it looked thick hair. Now, how did I look at that? I started looking at that as my hair was wild. I loved it. But then over time, I started looking at that, comparing to other people. I could only really wash my hair maybe once a week. Now, I looked at that as a negative thing because if I washed my hair too much, it became dry. When I would look at other people and they would always complain. They're like, oh my gosh, I have to wash my hair every day. Like, how can you do that? They would look at me like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky. I'd look at them like, you're lucky. Because when you wash your hair, everything's fresh, everything looks great, right? Well, if I washed my hair too much, it would get dried out, or it would lose what it had. Like if I washed my hair too much, then that new hair, fresh hair, would go away. Kind of like when you use the same shampoo too long. At first it makes your hair amazing. After a while you need a different shampoo because it starts just kind of looking dull, everything else. Now, think of it this way, as I'm saying it. So I'm looking at it as a negative in relation to other people's hair. I'm looking at it like I wish I can wash my hair as often as you do. And by the time I would wash my hair, when other people had to because their hair was oily, I'd have to wash it because it would get dried out. I mostly needed to condition it. Skip ahead. Okay. Over the years, changes left and right when it came to that. Now to today, for whatever reason, over time, age, yes, that's the reason. Shut it. I now have to wash my hair, and this is actually really, really new. Like I would never use products before, and then I started being able to use products, which I liked. Other people loved the idea of not being, you're so lucky your hair looks like that without using products. The natural health person in me loved that. But over time I realized, well, I want to be able to use products. I want to be able to change my hair like other people do. Okay. Like other people. Okay. That's the common thing here. So over time I started using products. Okay, made my hair look great. I was able to do all these different things with my hair and such. Now, I'm to the point now where I've made my hair nice and healthy because that's how I was looking at it before was I get all these split ends, my hair's frizzy. I wish more than anything that my hair wasn't frizzy. I wish that I could wash my hair more often. I wish that blah, blah, blah. When other people are going, you have amazing hair and you don't have to do anything with it. Relativity, once again. I'm looking at it from a negative perspective when other people are looking at it like you are the luckiest person in the world with your hair. Now my hair is nice and healthy because I started using the right, shampoos and all that. But as time's gone by, my hair has kind of lost its body. I can't really use product anymore, a whole lot of product, because immediately it weighs my hair down. I have to wash my hair. I'm not used to this. Like I come to work after washing my hair, it's all nice and fresh, everything else. Sometimes the same day, sometimes the next day, it feels like it's already weighing down and I need to wash my hair again. Okay. Now, there are so many bigger life problems and world problems. I get it. But this is based on perspectives of relativity. Now I'm relating it to other people once again. And guess what I'm also relating it to? I'm in a negative place now with my hair. I'm going, I wish I didn't have to wash my hair so often. I wish I had body like I used to. Okay. I'm now looking at my hair in a negative way. I'm now unhappy with my hair. And guess what I'm comparing it to? The hair I used to have. Even though when I had it, grass is always greener. Okay, that's my point, okay? And I'm realizing that about myself as well. Now, Am I going to turn around and say I love my hair right now? No. I loved what I had. I wouldn't go back to that again. How do I get that back? Okay. But I'm going to stop and appreciate what I do have, because in all actuality, I could compare it too. I don't want to compare it to other people. That's what I'm trying to get away from, is compare situations to other people's situations, which sparks something in me, not in competitiveness, not keeping up with the Joneses, but reminding me of what I wanted in life. Everything from the home I want to be living in, to the experiences I want to have, to the family I wanted to have, to the relationship I want to have, all that kind of stuff. It's very difficult when you do start comparing to other people. That's what's been holding me down a lot. Okay, so how I need to stop, and this is why where I'm talking about the perspectives and relativity and all that. Relate it to your own situation. Just keep relating yourself to your own goals and such, because when you start, i.e. me as well, constantly comparing and relating to other people, other situations, and other people's goals, other people's, achievements or whatever, then you're in constant competition with other people, and you're never going to appreciate what you have. It's time to stop, pay attention to what we have in the moment. Look at all the good things we have in the moment. When I'm complaining about my hair to my coworker, she says, "Your hair looks great. It looks really healthy." I don't know what you're seeing. We see ourselves differently. Why do we tend to see ourselves in a negative light? Why is it like a negative mirror is in front of us? Okay. I am focusing on looking at myself once again and saying, you know what? You've got it. It doesn't matter in comparison to anybody else. It doesn't matter based on other people's expectations, anything like that. The most important thing is to love ourselves, and that really is real. To compare ourselves only to our own goals based on who we feel we are, what we want in our own lives, okay? And really dig deep down inside and decide what that is, and then compare it, but use it as a positive lesson, a positive goal, instead of beating ourselves down based on where we are in comparison to where we want to be in any part of life. Okay, I struggle with that. That's my newest lesson, and that's only because all this stuff is coming up, and I've realized that the vision I have for myself, relationships, home, all that is not what I've had in my head since I was young, that same vision. Now I'm realizing that I need to work on that, but I need to not do it in a negative way. Doing it in a negative way isn't going to get me anywhere. It's not going to make me any happier, okay? But keeping it as a positive incentive with lessons learned and looking at life as, look where I am though. I am so thankful where I am in comparison to where I could be. But I'm thankful for where I am. I'm thankful for my own achievements. I'm thankful for who I've become. I'm thankful for my surroundings. I'm thankful for my job. I'm thankful that I have a house with roof over my head. I'm thankful for my crew at work. I'm thankful for my family still in my life. I'm thankful for my animals. I'm thankful for me being me, and for me finally understanding who that person is deep inside without the expectations of other people, anybody else. I talked about that recently, so that's why I'm throwing that in. That's a big lesson lately. And from here on, my inspiration is going to be that picture inside on what makes me happy. Being who makes me happy, creating a life that makes me happy. And that's not going to be based on other people's expectations. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that life lesson alone, because that's released a whole lot. Okay, so look at the deep things to be thankful for. Look at the shallow things to be thankful for. Whatever you do, never stop being thankful and appreciative. Never stop relating things in a positive point of view. Everything that you go through, I suggest, and I'm going to really work on this myself, is keep relating it, okay? If I get something, instead of looking at it like I paid too much for that, oh my gosh, this or that, I'm going to look at it like, picture it being, picture me not having that money to even being able to buy it, okay? Stop wasting time on guilt. Stop wasting time on looking at things from, based on relative to things that are, it's going to make you, this is coming out all wrong. Stop looking at things in relation to whatever is going to make you look at that as a negative. That's my point. Okay, so this is where I am in society right now. This is where I am in my own head. Life happens, and it's happening at a fast rate lately, and I'm thankful for that. even though it's painful, it's difficult. I see what I'm supposed to be seeing. Okay, and I'm making the adjustments accordingly. So that's what I hope other people are doing as well in life. So I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Just enjoy it, even if you're there by yourself. That's going to be me, and that is based on relativity once again. Instead of feeling boo-hoo, I had options. I had options. For my own reasons, I chose not to follow up any of those options, okay? So even if you are out there alone, find what you're thankful for. Okay, relate it to where you could be, and things could always be worse. And I know people hate hearing that. Sometimes I cringe when I hear that, but it is really the truth. So, all right, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned right now for Tiffany Lewis on Be the Change. I'll talk to you next week, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night.